Hello, Year 4. Welcome back. We are on lesson 4 of our Rainforest unit. Today, we are moving on from those rainforest layers to look at rainforest tribes. And you can see some examples here of some of the charities that help these rainforest tribes. And I've used some of the photographs from these websites, so that's why they're there. Let's see what the plan is for today, shall we? So you need to make sure you've got just a pen and some lined paper. We may need some other things later, but you can go and get them then because there's a choice again of which task you do at the end of the session. What are we going to be finding out about? We are going to be finding out about an Amazon tribe, one particular Amazon tribe. We're going to find out how their life is similar and different to ours. We're going to be thinking about the threats or the dangers to that tribe. And we're going to be trying to use some key vocabulary. We're going to be trying to use 5 words. We're going to be using the word indigenous, uncontacted, nomadic, the our tribe, and hunter-gatherers. So there are key vocabulary for today. Before we start finding out all about this tribe, Splash and I thought it would be good to check how much you can remember about the layers of the rainforest from yesterday. So that's what our Who Wants to Be a Millionaire quiz is about today. Splash is very excited. He thinks he's got this one in the bag and he's going to know the most and win the £1 million or the virtual £1 million. Unfortunately, I still haven't got a real £1 million to give you. So let's see how much you've remembered. Multiple choice like it was last time. Record the answer A, B, C, or D. Right, let's get started. Here we go. As soon as you hear the music, it builds up the anxiety levels. How much do you know about the rainforest layer? Are you ready? Here we go. Question. Which of the following is not the name of a rainforest layer? Is it A, emergent layer, B, forest floor, C, top layer, or D, canopy? Which of the following is not the name of a rainforest layer? Record your letter now. Okay, let's see who's won the first lot of money. Here we go. Top layer. There isn't any top layer, is there? The one that was missing was understory. So top layer was not the name of the rainforest layer. Ready for question 2? This could win you 10,000. Which layer contains dense vegetation? A, emergent layer, B, forest floor, C, understory, D, canopy. Which layer contains dense vegetation? Here we go. Canopy contains the most vegetation. Ready for question 3? Hopefully you've done all right so far. Hopefully you're getting there. 100,000. Which layer is home to 50% of all life on Earth? A, canopy, B, emergent layer, C, forest floor, D, understory. Which layer is home to 50% of all life on Earth? Animals there as well, hasn't it? So it's really important for life on Earth. Okay. Which layer contains the top of some of the tallest trees in the world? Is it A, the forest floor, B, the emergent layer, C, the understory, D, the canopy? Which layer contains the top of some of the tallest trees in the world? How did you do? Did you manage to win all of the money or did you lose early on? I hope you managed to win lots of money because I know how much work you put in yesterday, so I'm sure you've done brilliantly. Right, we're going to find out some more information now, not about the layers of the rainforest, but about the people of the rainforest today. So there are about 60 million Indigenous people who still live in the world's rainforest and depend on it totally for their livelihoods. And Indigenous is a word that means the people who originate from a particular region or country and who choose to stay there and live there in their original ancestral homes and don't move away from that area. So that's what Indigenous means, people who have grown up generation after generation living in that area and have never moved from one place to another. The Indigenous tribe that we're going to be thinking about is the tribe that lives in the Amazon. So we're going to be finding out about a tribe called the Awa tribe. And this tribe are really important because part of the tribe is still totally uncontacted. So an uncontacted tribe means that the tribe has had no contact, no communication with the outside world at all. So they've had nobody coming into their tribe or into their homes. They've had no connection with people in terms of talking to other people that aren't part of their tribe, and people from their tribe have never left that tribe. So this is an example of an uncontacted Amazon tribe. The Awa tribe, lots of people didn't believe existed, and they have got quite a number of threats to them, some real dangers to their life. And there was a gentleman who wanted to show the government that these people really existed because he wanted to make sure they were protected, but he didn't want to go into the actual rainforest itself because those people would not like that. They want to remain uncontacted. So he decided that he would take a film crew from the BBC with some really powerful lenses, and he would fly over the top of the area where he thought they were and see if he could get some footage of them, and he managed it. So let's find out about the Awa tribe. So again, this is another example where you're just going to pause this video in a second and you're going to go and find this YouTube clip. So you go to YouTube again, go into the search engine, and in the search engine you're going to type in uncontacted Amazon tribe first ever aerial footage, and you'll see it looks like they can see the picture of the forest and where can they go. And Splash is telling us that it's 3 minutes and 38 seconds long, so make sure you've got the right one before you start watching it. It's called Uncontacted Amazon Tribe First Ever Aerial Footage. If you can't and there's no adult around to help you, then just leave that and carry on watching this video, and you can find out lots more about the Awa tribe. So fascinating, isn't it? Imagine how you'd have felt if you had been in this uncontacted tribe in the middle of the rainforest and you'd never seen an aeroplane, and all of a sudden this aeroplane came flying above. You can see those children's faces, can't you, in that frozen shot there. They're utterly stunned at what they're seeing because they've probably never seen an aeroplane before, certainly not one getting that close. So the Awa tribe, what are they like? Let's find out, shall we? Really important that we know a bit more about these people. So they're the Indigenous people of the Amazon rainforest, and they're an uncontacted tribe. So we know that nobody's been into their tribe, nobody's come out from their tribe. And they are one of over 77 different groups that are believed to exist separately in the Amazon rainforest. And this particular tribe live what's called a nomadic life. So they move around. They don't have one house that they stay in forever. They move around the rainforest over the course of the year, searching for the things that they need. And so their houses or their shelters are very temporary. They haven't got lots of walls and lots of furniture inside them because they have got to use only the resources that they have within the rainforest. They're also called hunter-gatherers. So they get all of their food by going out and gathering it. So if it's fruit or honey or things like that, they gather it up. Or they hunt animals for their food. So very different lifestyle from the lifestyle that you're used to. No popping down to the supermarket. So hunter-gatherers, so the key things that this tribe live on are honey, and they are really skilled at knowing where the locations of the honey are. They know exactly which trees bear fruit and when. So they will move around the forest to the right kind of trees for the right kind of time of the year, because they know at what time of the year these fruits are going to be ripe and are going to be the right time to eat them. They know where the mammals are, they know where their breeding grounds are, they know where they're living, and they know at which point is the right point to actually kill an animal to eat it. But they also have some particular foods that are called forbidden foods. So although they go out hunting for their food, and you can see they use those bows and arrows to hunt them, There are certain things that they don't eat at all. So the forest provides this huge bounty of different foods and things, but some animals, so for instance, the capybara, which is a very strange looking creature, kind of looks a little bit like a pig and a rodent. And the harpy eagle, which we looked at before, are totally not allowed. The owl will not eat them because they're seen as very sacred animals. Eating a bat is said to cause a headache, so they never eat bats. The larger possum they don't like because it smells funny, so they don't eat that. Hummingbirds, they decided just too small, and they think they're so beautiful that they need protecting, so they don't touch hummingbirds. Other animals are only hunted at certain times of year, and in this way the owl makes sure that they can survive on the rainforest but without taking too much out of the rainforest. So they know exactly the right amount of food to take to ensure that animals will continue breeding and the trees will continue growing so that they have a continuous line of food. The owl know this forest intimately. They know every stream, every river, every tree, not because they've got a map, there's nothing drawn out for them, but because all of that information is inside their heads, because all they do all day long is explore the forest. They search for what they need and then they return back to the camp that they currently set up and make sure that that food is cooked on an open fire. So this is what you would own if you were a member of the owl tribe, and this would actually be constantly changing. So you would have a manakua, which is a rucksack made from woven palm leaves, so that when you go out hunting and gathering, you've got somewhere to put the fruits and things that you collect. No bags, okay? And every time this rucksack gets worn out, they would just make another one out of the palm leaves. Then they have their bow and arrow, 2-meter long arrows, and at the end of those arrows they have harpy eagle feathers to help them make sure that they travel in the right direction and keep them balanced. Their home is literally just a shelter, so they literally just have a roof on their home which keeps them dry, the tapai. And the shelters are made from branches of trees and palm leaves that they've very carefully woven together. So it keeps them dry when the rains come, but it's not permanent because they might well be moving on. And then they sleep off the floor. Obviously, you wouldn't want to sleep on the floor because it's very wet on the forest floor. So they very sensibly build an acacia, which is a hammock made from palm tree fibers. So everything they own is made from resources in the rainforest. They don't go out and buy things. There's nowhere to buy things. There's no shops. They literally have to rely totally on the rainforest itself. So if you lived in the rainforest as a child, what would your life be like? So this has been put together by a charity who were trying to show what life would be like in the owl tribe. So it's not a real child that said this, but let's imagine one of those children in that picture at the bottom there, playing with the capybara, had said this. So it says, each day I get up at 5 a.m. as the sun rises. So they don't really know it's 5 a.m. All they know is it's sunrise. And they go to bed when the sun sets. So there's no set time. It depends when the sun rises and when the sun sets. In my village, we grow crops including beans, corn and bananas. For breakfast, I collect the crops for my family to eat. I do not go to school. I help my family. So they've never even heard of a school. They certainly don't go to one. Each day we hunt for food. We hunt for turtles and fish in the river, catching them with arrows. We cook the food over a fire while it is fresh. I usually have fish for my lunch. The rainforest is valuable to tribes like ours as it has many resources we can use to build our homes, light our fires, and provide medicines when we are sick. We live in harmony with the rainforest and only use the resources we need. So it's really important that they don't waste anything. They know how valuable the resources in the rainforest are and they make sure that they don't waste any of it. And they definitely don't have electricity or TV or computer games. So a very different kind of life to the life that we are used to. So what do they do? What do they do in the day? Well, there are some of the things that they do. What's family life like? So if you are a part of an owl tribe, you might go with your family fruit picking. You might go with your family fishing. If you needed a drink, you might squash some acai berries and use the juice of the acai berries for a drink. You might go out and play with mini bows and arrows because you need to be really good at hunting. You need to have target practice to make sure that you're going to be able to hit those animals when you get older and you're expected to provide for your family. You can't just turn on the tap and have a drink of water or turn on the tap and have a shower. So they bathe and play in the Amazon River. And you can see there that boy hanging from a vine across the river and a family in the water in the river. And a really interesting thing is to do with their names. So our children don't get a name when they're born. Their family waits until they decide what kind of character that child has got, and then they match a name from nature to it. So for instance, we have one child who was called Earthworm because she was really wriggly and never sat still. Another child was called Dove because her mum, who was called Parakeet, said, let's call her Dove. Doves sing and walk on the ground. So because she was always singing, this child, she got called Dove. So that our child wait until they think that they really know the child, and then they reach a certain age and they give them a new name. So some children are called after trees, some children are called after animals, and a really different way of getting your name, isn't it? So that's what family life would be like. Then the other thing that they have a lot of are pets. They often have more pets than people in their tribe. And their favourite pet is the capuchin monkey, which you can see here. Cheeky little character. Off he goes. The pets are a little bit different to the way we have pets. So when we have a pet, we tend to keep it inside our house, don't we? Or we certainly train it to come back to our house. These animals are totally free to roam the Amazon rainforest and the jungle. And they are looked after often. If something has happened to a parent of one of the baby animals, the children will look, and the mums in the tribe will look after these children. And you can see here is a coyote. Look at this little character, another really common pet. And you can see here a child sharing their fruit with a parakeet. See here him munching away at this parakeet. Once an animal has chosen to come into the area where the tribe are living, they become part of the family, and they're called Hanima. And that means that from then on, they are never allowed to be hunted and eaten. And our tribe described the fact that they can recognize the calls of the birds and the monkeys that have been growing up inside their tribe. And so they recognize which ones are which, and they make sure that those animals are never hunted. So they have all sorts of different animals from the rainforest that come and join them. There's lots of films on the internet of monkeys coming and hopping into their hammocks with them at night and snuggling up with them. So a really different way of living, isn't it? We're having those pets. So it sounds like an idyllic life, doesn't it? What an exciting life to live. But there are problems. Over 90 tribes have been lost from the Amazon rainforest alone. So there were all these tribes all over the rainforest at one point, and gradually over the years, some of these tribes have been totally killed off and they no longer exist anymore. So how is that happening, and why is that happening? Well, to start off with, you heard in the film at the beginning, didn't you, about loggers. So loggers are people who cut down the trees and use the wood for all sorts of things. And in the film, they were talking about illegal loggers. So there are people who are allowed to go and chop down those trees, who do it very sensibly, making sure that they replant other trees afterwards. But there are also illegal loggers, and they come along with guns and they shoot the people that live in the tribes to get them out of the way. And they chop down the trees, they burn the remains of the trees, and they take them away to use and make money from. So that's a huge threat to these tribes. Western diseases are another trouble. So you might have another threat. You might have heard them mention on there, the common cold. So if somebody from modern society went into their tribe, because that tribe have never come into contact with any of the diseases and illnesses and viruses that we have in our country, they are really susceptible to get very sick with them really quickly. So sometimes if somebody from outside came into the tribe and they weren't able to get away, they might well catch something from that person, and these diseases have been known to wipe out entire tribes full of people over the course of a very short time. So that's another huge threat to these tribal people. Cattle ranchers are another. So Brazil has got a huge amount of cattle in its country, and they use the cattle to sell for meat. And they have way more cattle in their country than they do people, way more than they need in Brazil. But these farmers continue to chop down trees in order to create pasture land for their cattle to live on. So, and some of that land that they chop down is land where these tribes live. They also chop down these trees for other reasons, for other types of farming as well. So they've got all these different people destroying parts of the rainforest. Some of the rainforest is destroyed for road building. And at the moment, over 34% of the Amazon rainforest has been destroyed. So it's a really, really big problem. And in tomorrow's lesson, we're going to find out a lot more about other threats to the rainforest in general. But it's certainly a dangerous place to live in these days when it really wasn't a long time ago. So what are we going to do today? Well, here's where your decision making comes in. So today I'm going to give you a choice, but within that choice, you have to make sure you do two things. You have to make sure you demonstrate your knowledge of our tribal life. So what have you found out today about their life and how is it different to ours? And I want you to make sure that you use that vocabulary at the bottom of the page. So uncontacted, indigenous, nomadic, our tribe, and hunter-gatherers. So you have a choice of 4 different things. First of all, you can write a diary entry as if you were a child in the Our tribe. Or you could produce a table. Let me show you what I was thinking of. So you're going to have 2 rows in this table. You're going to have a row that's children in the UK, and you're going to have a row that's our children. And then across the top, you're going to have all different aspects of life, say food and pets and hobbies. You might have a section on names or belongings, and you're going to record in the boxes how children in the UK are different to the children living in the Our tribe. So that's really important that we have a look at that. And we make sure that these children, we have a really good understanding of how these children's lives are totally different to ours. So that's the next thing that you could choose to do. Number 3 is having a go at writing an acrostic poem. So in an acrostic poem, we're going to use the word our tribe. Okay, and we're going to write it down the page. So here we go. And we're going to use each letter to start a word in our poem. So we may start up here with A, and we might say they're an indigenous tribe. Okay, then we go down to the next section and we think of a line that we can use starting with the letter W, and we go all the way through, trying to describe exactly what our tribal life is like. And then finally, if you would actually prefer to do something on the computer, you could choose to create a PowerPoint all about our life and how it's different to ours. I don't want it to look like the one that we've been using in the lesson, where it's just about the Our tribe. I want you to do a comparison. So I want you to show the Our tribe on one side of each slide and children's in the UK's life on the other side of the slide, so that you can see constantly. So if you had pets, you would have examples of the pets from the Our tribe and then examples from the pets of the English children. So there's a choice today. I'm going to put the choice back up on the screen so you can see. Do that now so that you can see exactly what your choices are and see those key vocabulary again. So you'll know you've got it right when you've managed to achieve those 2 things. Okay, so whichever task you want to do, you have to make sure that you've used those 5 keywords at the bottom and that you've been really clear about your knowledge of our tribal life. When you think you've succeeded and you've managed it, come back and we'll just check that work through and find out what we're doing tomorrow. So press pause and off you go. Okay, how did you get on? Hopefully really well. So remember, the 2 key things we wanted were, have you used those 5 words? Check through now. Have you got those 5 words? Are you happy that you've achieved them? And have you shown really clearly the most significant differences between our lives and the lives of the children of our tribe? I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've really thought about that really carefully. Well done. Right, tomorrow's our last lesson. Hasn't it zoomed by? So we're going to be continuing to look at the threats to the Amazon rainforest tomorrow. And we're also going to think about how we're connected with the Amazon rainforest. What's the Amazon rainforest got to do with us? We've never visited it. Why does it have anything to do with us? And finally, what does the Amazon rainforest future look like? I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. It's fascinating finding out about this tribal life, isn't it? And you can join me tomorrow for our very final lesson. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye for now.